By afternoon, the fog had thinned. It hadn't disappeared, just settled low over the hills, as if it were watching. CG and Chris pulled up to Mrs. Whitlock's cider stand, a fixture that had been there for so long, nobody could recall a time without it. The old wooden sign creaked in the wind, its faded letters reading Whitlock's Fresh Cider and Tales of the Season. Mrs. Whitlock was already there, stirring a steaming pot behind the counter. Her silver hair was neatly pinned up in a bun, and her scarf looked like it had witnessed every November Martin's Ferry had ever experienced. "Well, look who the wind dragged in," she said, her smile warm. "You two been chasing ghosts or chasing trouble?" CG carefully handed her the leaf, which was wrapped in a napkin. "Maybe both." Mrs. Whitlock turned the leaf over in her wrinkled hands, her eyes squinting to read the carved message. "Ah," she said softly, a note of recognition in her voice. "The first flame, haven't heard that in a long, long time." Chris raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "So, you've heard of this kind of thing before?" She nodded slowly, the corners of her eyes crinkling with the gesture. "There's an old fairy tale. They say the harvest spirit left behind 3 flames, one for memory, one for balance, and one for renewal. When the colors of fall start to fade before their time, the first flame is said to bring them back." CG crossed her arms, a hint of skepticism in her voice. "And where would someone find that?" asking for 2 very confused people. Mrs. Whitlock leaned forward, her voice dropping to a confidential whisper. "If the fog won't lift, the answer's always where the light once burned. You should check the old train station at dusk." They thanked her, grabbing 2 steaming cups of cider for the road. As they drove through the town, the sun began to dip behind the ridge, and for the first time all day, it felt like the fog was following them, closing in as the light faded. At the abandoned station, the heavy doors creaked open as if they were expecting them. The air inside was thick with the scent of rust and old damp wood, and there, right in the middle of the dusty floor, sat an antique lantern, glowing faintly, seemingly on its own. Chris swallowed hard, his eyes wide. "So, that's normal, right?" CG let out a long sigh, her gaze fixed on the flickering light. "In Martin's Ferry? Absolutely not.